Welcome to the Fall River Park Board meeting. Pursuant to any open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting to any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made, whether perceived or unperceived by those present, and are deemed acknowledged and permissible.
I would like to let everyone know that FRG TV is taping us at this time, and if anybody would like to tape this meeting, just have to check in with me, and so I can make everyone aware that you will be taping this meeting. Thank you. Roll call of commissioners.
Victor Farias,
Joe Schulenberg.
Rigo,
Marjorie Yitkin. Jeff Silver will be a little late. Can we get an acceptance of the agenda for the 10-2 meeting?
Make a motion to accept the minutes of the 10-2 meeting.
second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Acceptance of the minutes from September 4th meeting.
Make a motion.
Make a motion from
Accept,
Commissioner Farris. Accept it.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Schoenberg. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Citizen input. Please note that you have 3 minutes. Carlos, come on down. State your name and address, please.
My name is Carlos Caesar. I reside at 367 Frost Street, Fall River. Well, I was not going to sign up for speak because I just had a question for the boards, for the board members, and the question was how much the carnival generated. Since the board don't have the answer yet, I sign up to speak that by now you should have how much the carnival made. And through the chair to Mrs. Smith, the bill for the cleaning, it was paid?
Not yet.
Not
No.
yet, okay. So that was my 2 questions that I will be back probably not next month because next month I'm away again out of the country, but the following month will be 4 months or 5 months from the carnival. So I hope that this board has the amount. I'm really curious to know how much this carnival generated in 4 days. Just, to prove that I was right, that this was not a fundraiser, this was just to prove a point. And for those at home that say Carlos is saying that because the mayor didn't give him the carnival, but gave it to somebody else, you're right. I'm mad because he didn't give it to me, and he picked whoever he want to give it to. So that's why I want to find out now, and I want to compare with the other offers that the carnival generated before, which you all have in file.
So, I just have a question because I'm kind of new to this. So what happens? They have a carnival. When they had a carnival, they had to submit what they made?
They're supposed to submit.
They're supposed to.
Yeah, we've had them, Carlos has submitted what his expenses were, what the income generated, and what his net profit was.
Okay, so they're supposed to give us that then.
Has anybody asked for it?
Has anybody asked for it?
Somebody has to ask
Board
for it.
voted.
Gotta
The
get
board
it.
voted to ask for it? Oh, then we need the information. Maybe we could send a letter then.
I'm like, damn.
Yep.
Okay.
You can't make any motions.
We're not making a motion because we're only going to send a letter because we don't need a motion for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know.
That's all, that's what I got.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Street Tree Planning Tree Committee?
Nobody else on that list.
Just Carlos, yeah? Anyone here for that?
Now, what I understand, they don't have enough of people in this tree committee.
Mm-hmm.
That's why
Okay.
nobody ever comes.
Okay, well, we're here and they're always welcome to come, one or all.
They do?
Yeah. Okay, new business. Can I get a motion to lift up items A through D that were tabled on September 4th meeting?
Motion.
The motion's been made by
Second.
Commissioner Farias and
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Rigo. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. So, the first one would be second half schedule schedules at Britland Park Lighting and Porta Johns. So are you here from, okay, could you mind coming to the table, please? Hi, could you state your name and address, please?
Rachel Resendes, 276 Meridian Street, Fall River.
Thank you. Okay, so it looks like the lighting in Porta Johns, let's start with that, because that's been an ongoing thing, it seems like. It's news to you? Nancy, did you ever communicate with the Porta Johns and that she doesn't understand that there's a problem?
No, you asked for her to come before the board,
So,
speak about Britland Park.
so she didn't,
You've had a representative from her league come before you and tell
Okay,
you
so that
that
was
she
the-
could not answer the
right,
questions.
that's right, okay.
So this has been back
That's
and
fine,
forth since May.
that's right, because she came down and we asked her a question, she didn't know, because we had heard and was told that you charge for lighting in Porta Johns, is that correct? And if so, how much?
Correct. It's $40 for the lights for the evening. Only if they use it. We divided it off of the total for the bill over the month periods that we had, the number of days that we did, the number of days that other people did. And we came up between 38 and 42 a day, so we do $40
A day?
a day for the lights if they have to use them. If they do need somebody to pick them up, because we do need to hire one of our kids to go and do it, it's an additional $10 because the kids drive back and forth to turn on the lights.
Okay, and then the Porta Johns as
The
well?
Porta John is just on the day, if they do it. Norista doesn't use it. You haven't used it? No. It's just the men's league that does, and they had agreed to $10 for their regular practices, scrimmages, and they do $15 for games because we have to empty it an extra time when they do have the games because there have been significant numbers of people.
Okay.
And what is done with this money?
Pays the bill. It's divided.
How much
there's
is
no
your
profit.
electricity bill?
The electricity bill for last season ended up coming out to $1,500, and we used it approximately 60% of the time, them 40. We ended up collecting about $600, and we paid the other $1,000. There's no profit margin on it, it's just a division by the number of days.
Right,
need to
but,
ask.
yeah, we have to, because
Well, you should have asked me for that then.
I'm
Nobody
asking you
asked
for,
me.
I'm asking for you that now.
I know
But we're gonna
that's-
let everybody know anyway, might as well let it all out, that I would suggest, because the Board of Park Commissioners are gonna be looking into, because Councilor LeBeau, which we'll get to, put a resolution in for rules and regulations, and I've been doing some research on it. So I really think that everybody should be paying the light bill up until the end of this year, and that way there, look at possibly us taking it back over. Because
That's what we've been
although you,
looking at for a long time. That's what we've been asking for.
yeah,
I submitted the fact, we have no banners we put up over there, we have no sponsorship over there. All
'Cause
we
you
do is
can't-
go there to play and go.
you cannot charge people for things there.
We're not charging people for things there. You told us to figure out in the meeting, I went back and read over
You
that.
didn't
And-
tell me. I didn't talk to
We
you.
were here at the meeting last year in August, okay, and then we met with you again in October, all of you here.
Oh, okay.
In
I thought you
October,
meant
the
the
mail
other
was right
meeting.
there. I rewatched that meeting today.
Oh, good.
Good, so watch it.
I don't need
Because
to
we can
watch
go-
it, and,
We can go through it, because that's what I want you to do.
no, I don't.
Because you guys told us
Wait
to
a
discuss it
minute.
and figure it out ourselves.
Okay, well, now we're going to say, we're gonna look at, and we'd appreciate it if you just, we're all here to work together.
I don't think so.
Why do you not think so?
I really don't. It's across the board. I'm not the only league saying it. It's sad. It's
Really?
sad, the situation occurring right now with the youth, okay, and what is going on at these parks. I don't think you're here to work with all of us.
Well, that's sad and unfortunate, because we hear a lot of good things when we're out in the field. And
I'd
it's-
love to hear people say it because I hear a lot of negative things. And by no means do I have anything to say,
Mm-hmm.
except this has not been a cooperative group to work with. You have, my friend. I have to be honest. Thank you for responding to the emails
I
and being
try,
appropriate.
I do try to
Okay?
respond.
And that's why I started adding you on to them.
Okay,
So I will forward you all the other emails that I have,
okay.
because I think it'll be entertaining for the board.
She's copied on all the emails, so you don't need to forward.
I will forward every email I have, Nancy. It's irrelevant what emails you might have sent. I would like to send them on my behalf.
So, okay. All right, so what we're gonna start doing is, we need to, when we ask for the, times, you know, you and I, we gone back and I sent it to the board as well, for the dates and times.
Yep.
There's sometimes that you couldn't give us the
Correct.
information.
Any of
but-
the travel ones, I have, we don't schedule them ourselves.
Right,
That's done by the governing state one, and then they submit it to us. So unfortunately, I'm at the hands of them when it comes to the schedule being given to us. And unfortunately, it only happens a couple weeks before it occurs. We don't do that scheduling ourselves. We schedule our rec games.
okay. All right, because I'm a little confused here. Doesn't take much, but.
Because there's
all right.
two aspects to the league.
I'm not confused, and can I
Yeah, can you
bring the
just,
board forward a little bit? Let's go back to 2013, because we want to rehash this stuff.
I wasn't here in
And put
2013.
Nancy
I was
at
not
the
here in
helm.
2013 though.
Okay,
Okay.
but we're gonna put Nancy at the helm, because Nancy's been here from day one. And so has Mr. Schulenberg, and so has Commissioner Sylvia. Fall River Youth Soccer brought forward an application that needed the city of Fall River in order to be considered for a soccer field to be constructed, okay? They could not do it on their own. It had to be a municipality. They submitted to the Board of Park Commissioners that they wanted a 10-year exclusive lease to Britland Park once it was completed. And they would dictate who played there, they would dictate what went on there, and the city of Fall River would maintain it. That was shot down at the time quite strongly by Commissioner Hathaway, if you people recall, because when that field was a dump, the only people that wanted to use it were the men's league. I said, we need to have the men's league stay in place. They came before us, they said, we pay $70,000 to Durfee High School to rent space. Okay, so we need the use of these fields. Is this board familiar with this conversation?
Yep.
Okay,
Absolutely.
because
We were here.
I'm being, like, I'm not
No.
communicating with these people properly, and I'm always the bad guy. But the reason that Marcy was answering her emails was because I said, and Marcy can confirm this, I am not going to go back and forth with this with no board members knowing. I need your schedule. I don't have it. I need you to come for the board. Concerning what? Listen, we'll go back there. Here we go again. I called them in. Marcy was supposed to sit in on this meeting. We had a problem with the porta-johns. If the porta-johns don't work out, you're gonna hire a person, we're gonna have this, have to hire whatever, we'll go broke. Well, then we come to a meeting, and I find out that we're charging $50 for lights, and I'm being told $15 for practice, $20 for porta-johns. When I sat there, 3 leagues said they were gonna go in on a porta-john. The way I looked at that was, if 3 leagues are going in on a porta-john, and for a round number, the fee for the month and cleaning whatever is $300, each league is gonna put in $100. We're not gonna be, you went to the bathroom 6 times, you went to the bathroom 4 times, you used it for 4 practices. That can't happen, okay? I also said in that meeting, because in your emails that you
Yep.
were copied on,
Yep, I did see that.
it said, I think it was okay. I said in that email, because I do everything in writing, that when I questioned the people and said, are you okay with this? No one said anything because we were all sitting around a table, and what I said was, I don't think they wanted to say anything in front of you. And if you go revert back to that email, I never said they were afraid of her, but then I got back a repercussion of, who's afraid of me? Okay, if we're gonna let the bad guy come out, we're gonna let all the boogeymen come out. Because I'm very tired of people changing my words.
Likewise. Likewise. Now, with that being said, ma'am, we have 30 days in a month, it's $10 a week. $10 a day, correct, for a porta-john to be used. We, as a league, we're saying instead of splitting it evenly, we know we use it more. Hence the reason why we're charging the $10 and the $15 for the game, because we knew we were having to pump it. So
Of
if
which
you
I
would
was
like us
supposed to
to
pump.
divide it by the 3 people that are doing it, I will gladly do that because that'll come as a savings to us.
Oh,
So
we're not gonna
please
have
let
to
me
worry
know.
about that
Yeah,
anymore,
we're gonna,
'cause this has
because,
gone way.
because
Well,
what
I'm letting
happens
you
is
know where
this.
the math came from because nobody's charging. We're getting the money from them for the use of that thing.
Right, but what
Okay,
happens
here's
is,
the
No
question,
profit.
Jim.
what happens
Here
is
is the
this.
question with the lights. I'm not even concerned about the porta john. My question is when the people come to me for lights, and if someone uses those lights 4 times in a month at 40, we'll round it to 50 for an even number again, that's $200. Okay? If the electric bill comes in for that month, and it's $400, so as she's saying, she uses it 5 nights a week, and those other people that used it 4 nights a week paid $200. There's only another $200 for those other 20 days in the month.
Well, if we can
I
have a
can't do the math
$400
that
bill,
way.
that would be wonderful.
You gave me your bills.
Yeah,
You-
that were paid
you-
up in advance.
When you submitted the
Correct.
information
Okay,
that we
all right,
asked at
let's
the
all-
beginning of
let's
the
just-
year,
And $1,600 is
Let-
what it came
let
out
her-
to.
for the year.
For the year.
Excuse me, can I?
Wait a
ask
minute, no,
what you
wait a
paid
minute,
us?
you have the floor, we'll have her come down and, let.
For
What
the
was
year.
paid by Norista, who's a direct check to us, was
I just think
$380
Okay, but
for the season.
anything that goes on, when we hear, because we hear complaints, so
Mm-hmm.
nobody may say it to you or anyone else, but we hear it. We're paying for this, we're paying for that, so as a board.
Which is why back last October, we asked you guys
Right,
to
well,
take
that's
it
why
over
we're
and you
here
refused
today.
to.
We're here today, and that's why we're
Yeah, but we're gonna
saying,
take it over, and then everybody's
Then
gonna have to
everybody-
pay, so you're gonna have to realize that.
yeah,
We do pay, Nancy. What part of us not paying? Are you not
What
getting?
we're saying
No.
is, everyone is gonna have to pay by games. They have investigated
Okay.
other leagues, so that's fine.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
But we can't have leagues coming to us and saying,
That's the
Fall
point
River
here.
Youth Soccer might be making money on this.
Right.
I don't have any documentation
that's what
of
they're
whether you
doing.
are
So-
or you're not.
So don't think,
The
this
locks
is,
will stay on everything, okay? As of December, you take it over. Nobody's allowed
well,
to use the
no,
lights.
well,
We'll take it on in this week. You can take it over today if you want.
we say what happens, quite honestly, but
That is in our name. We
Yeah.
can turn it off whenever we like,
you
ma'am.
can turn
They
it
would
off.
like it,
Then turn it
probably.
off.
Okay? Because this is ridiculous.
Yeah, see.
We did what
well,
was said to do in October with the mayor standing right there.
Right,
Can't you figure this out, people? Can't adults figure this out? That's what the mayor said.
right, you're right, and we did.
So adults figured it out, and then again.
And then they
it's
complained.
more lashing, more this, more that.
And then they
Hey,
complained.
how many complaints do you get a day about everything? I do too. You can't make everybody happy.
Well, no, but when they're complaining about paying money,
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's huge money there. Wow. Wow.
but we still have to
So
address
you're
it.
not satisfied,
I'm not.
then find another place to play.
I'm not satisfied.
Then
I'm
find
not
another
playing.
place to pay.
Ma'am, I don't think you're understanding. It's not me playing. It's 700 youth.
Well,
So if that's the
find
feeling you
another
have
place
in
for them to
700
play.
youth in our
If you're
city,
not satisfied
having
with
nowhere to
us.
go, shame on you in this position. Shame on you.
Right?
Okay? This is a fight for the kids, not for me.
And we have to remember though, in all honesty, that we're here to do the checks and balances of.
And I get that.
Wait, please,
And I get that.
know.
But
can
I think it's
finish? I need
disgusting
to
how some
finish.
people respond
Well, we have to be
like
honest here.
that, for instance.
Well, you're not being very nice either, so we all have to
That's
calm
fine.
down.
But
We have
I'm
to calm
tired of
down.
not calling her out.
Well, we all have rules and regulations that we have to follow. And I'm
Absolutely.
sorry that you feel that way, believe me. And I'm sorry that Nancy feels this way. But we have to pull together, and if you're gonna get the lighting out of your name, then just let Nancy know when you let the lighting out of your name.
Absolutely.
That's all we can do.
I will send an
But as
email.
Commissioner Rego said, I mean, it's a premier field. We have to, why we ask for, just so you know, why we ask for the schedule is because a lot of people want to use that
I
field.
get that. I
So
get
we-
that. And I
right.
totally get it to see
I
the
need to
field.
finish though. You've been sitting here, please, just give me the same respect. That's all I ask. So people need to give our the scheduling, and that way there we can accommodate, everyone, not just certain ones,
Yeah,
So we have to work together,
yeah.
okay? So that's why we ask for the schedules.
I'm well aware why you asked for the schedules, and I gave them to you the minute I had them. Again, we do not get the schedule for travel until 2 weeks before because it's not done by us. There's nothing we can do about that. That's by the league. That's by the governing league. We are under Mass Youth Soccer Association. So everything is done through them. Then they send that to us because they're coordinating all the travel that happens and where kids are going to be.
Okay.
As soon as I have that, I promise you, it'll be in your hands.
Okay.
We got it the last time, I continued to email the league. They did not have it, they did not have it.
And that's when you sent me the email
And then
stating that
and then
you did.
immediately, when I got it from them, I sent it to you within 10 minutes. And that's why I put underneath it, so you could see
So
that.
then, I just wanna make sure that we're on the same page. So you're gonna get the lights out of your name,
Yep,
by,
we'll have them out November 1st in the porta potty
I would
hours.
think that the season should end, and whatever this board is going to do, effective January 1st, that's going to affect next, I don't think, and I said this last meeting, when we were dishing out the permits, and they didn't have the scheduling yet, and the board said, we gotta award these other permits. Do we recall that at the other meeting?
Right.
I'm thinking that. So my personal recommendation would be, if this board is going to make changes to this, the season has a month left, and I said this last time when it was 2 months. The season has a month or two left. I think you need to let this play out the way it's been playing along. Let everyone know what your intention is as of, your November meeting, whether you're going to charge, how you're gonna handle this, who's gonna pay what, what's gonna be in whose name, so that all of these leagues have an opportunity to do, seek out alternative locations if they're
Right.
not gonna be getting enough at the same time as before.
Right.
I just think this is something as a courtesy. I think most of the leagues end November, both the men's league,
Right.
Yes,
correct?
everybody,
So
across the
everyone
board.
ends in
All of it?
November.
Mhm.
So when that league ends in November, I would say that Fall River Youth Soccer should take the lights out of their name, let me
Okay.
know, we
That's
will
fine.
put it back in the park department's name, and that leaves the Board of Park Commissioners with whatever information or whatever road they wanna take, and it gives all of these leagues that utilize these fields an opportunity to see if they have to seek out another location.
okay. But again, I just want to reiterate one thing, Rachel, so you'll know. When we hear complaints, we have to look into it. It's not-
Oh, I
okay.
understand that.
All right, okay. So we're all on the same page with that.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right, so then that's what we'll do,
Okay,
okay? All right, thank you.
thank you.
Now, we had, you're from, where are you from? Do you have anything that you'd like to add?
No,
You can come down,
I
come
had
down to
all
the
the
table,
leagues
please.
come,
Right,
because I had all the leagues come.
come on
But
down.
unfortunately, some of them didn't come,
That's okay,
but they were all invited.
All right.
Every league that has a permit,
I
we
asked
sent
that.
an invite.
for the,
This is
Nor'easter.
Nor'easter, they use
First-
Thursday nights only. This was, the gentleman that came before you was Steve Montega.
right.
He was not available tonight, so he
Okay.
had this lady come from his
Hi,
league.
I'd like to recognize Commissioner Silva. You just came in, hello?
Well,
Okay. State your name and address, please.
Linda Borges, 111 Short Street, Fall River.
Okay. So, is Linda?
Yes.
So, do you pay for the porta johns?
No, we don't use the porta johns.
You don't?
No, just the lights.
So, and you pay the lights?
We do at the end of the season. We tally up, I keep track of the days that we've used the lights, and then I confirm it with Rachel, and then I just have the treasurer get a check over to her.
And what's it been?
It depends, because some of the days, like if it's raining and we don't have a practice, we don't have the lights that we're using, so she doesn't, like, we don't have to pay for it. So, I'm not sure what this last amount was, but it is the $40 for each Thursday that we use it.
Those $40 a game.
Well, we only use it for practices, we don't have,
We
like,
don't have
we don't
games.
have time
You don't have
available.
games there.
Yeah, I mean, we would love to have games, but it's used on Sundays, so it's out for us.
No, ma'am, no one pays to use the park.
well, then I think maybe we ought to think about having them pay a fee.
We're looking into that from this resolution. Anybody have any questions? No? Okay, thank you.
I mean, I just, like, for us, the $40 that we pay for the lights isn't anything compared to what we have to pay, like, when we do rent the Durfee fields or any of the other fields. So, to us, if that's something that we have to pay, then,
And what do you pay to rent the Durfee field?
they're at $100 an hour.
Durfee, right in Fall River here?
Yeah. What
And
did I
they
just
have,
say,
like-
you know? And then we have to stop.
Well, this is why I did some
New
research,
resolution,
but we'll
a new
talk about
business.
that.
And In the past, we have used Somerset, but Somerset, their fields are a lot more because then you have to pay for security, you have to pay for the lights. So it sometimes comes out to almost $200 for
An
an
hour?
hour.
And I did some research on this.
Was that Somerset?
Yeah.
And these are the charges here that I want to give you guys. This is Fall River, Diamond. If you could pass that to Jeff, please.
It's a lot.
And I think that we need to start doing something, and I know that, and that's all for you, right? You don't have
Yes,
anything
no,
else to
that's-
add?
that's it.
Okay, all right,
Okay.
Linda, thank you very much. We
Okay,
appreciate
thank
you
you.
taking the time to come here. So on that note, I think that we need to just get some, a few volunteers from the commission. I mean, Joe's on the tree, Victor's on CPC, so maybe Jeff, me, and Helen could work on some of this and then present it to the board regarding rates, because it seems like there's rates, they do it by blocks in New Bedford, they do it by the hour at Durfee and Diamond, I believe. So, I mean, that's unbelievable. $100 an hour at Durfee?
Two.
No, 2 was Somerset.
Because you pay for the janitor as well.
You're paying for what?
The janitor as
Custodian,
well.
they pay for a worker to
Yeah.
come in to open, make sure it's
Well,
closed,
they
locked
do
up
that in New
properly,
Bedford too, you're right.
cleaned.
You're right.
You can, you're from Nor'easter too?
Yeah, you can come down. What's your name?
Mark Borges,
Hi, Mark.
111 Short Street, Florida, Mass. The only thing I asked the people in front here, I know, there's only really one soccer field in the city of Fall River. And we have a lot of kids that play at this one field. The reason why we come to this field, not to play this field, playing for Fall River, play for Nor'easter. If we start charging this crazy amount of money, we're gonna lose a lot of these players. We having these families, having these kids play for these teams, So I know, like $150, $200, that's a lot of money, so I just think.
Well, we would look into,
Yeah, I'm just saying,
it's
just
not gonna be
keep
done
that in mind.
tomorrow,
No,
but,
I know, but just
yeah.
something just to keep in mind,
Sure.
for the future. I mean, we don't have no problems paying a fee, but I don't wanna be priced
To
out.
be honest, I think with the board, the discussions that I've had with the board are the blocks of
Right.
time. I mean, the blocks of time, like you said something about it Sunday, there's blocks of time that, maybe 2 hours or 4 hours is enough for a league to have, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
You're-
because-
That league, this league has come before us as far back as, when actually you ended up getting a day because Jasmine Montega came in as a Durfee High School student and made a presentation, not to this board, but
No.
to some members of this board that have been on, and they were touched by the fact that she was a soccer player that could not get on that premier field. And that's when they realized that there are a lot of leagues that want to use this field. And unfortunately, it's very difficult to dole out the time.
Yes,
Well,
But-
especially when people say they're using it and they're not.
yes.
So this is why we need to
Well, in all fairness, it's, we're part of NEP, which is another league, Mass Youth Soccer and all these men's leagues. So you're talking about, a league that has maybe, 100-something teams, 50-something teams. And each team, meaning like other clubs and other towns, they gotta figure out field availability, just like we have to figure out. And it does become tough to schedule
Yeah.
these games because, like she said previously, you don't find out until a couple of weeks before. So it's kind of tough to gauge what you need for
Right, but I
hours
think
and
what this board it has to look at as well is, and again, the discussion has been, there's rec soccer and then there's premier travel soccer.
Yeah.
Their main function as far as city parks is to provide for those rec programs, for the Little League, for the rec programs that are played by all kids. I mean, I know travel teams that's over and above what these rec teams are. And that's what makes it difficult, because like you said, you don't get your schedule. However, somebody else does get their schedule, and they're like, why am I waiting to get my dates? Because they don't have their dates. And this is the behind the scenes that no one sees that I get. Why are we waiting? Why do we have to work around them?
Yes.
And no one, like anything else, no one's gonna say that in a room when people are sitting there. But they are gonna say it on the phone and say, well, what makes us have to wait? We got this, we got that, we have kids, we're a you know,
Yes.
and then I'm trying to be the referee, and as you can see, I become the bad guy.
I'm just saying, like with our league, we have the 2 seasons that we use the fields outdoors for the fall and for the spring. We know more or less when we start, and when we end. And with our league now that we're in, we're able to pretty much, if we have, say, like, if you were to say, you have 4 hours at the field, I could then say, I'm gonna book 2 or 3 games at that time, and then know that at that point, I'm done. I have to figure out where my other games are gonna be scheduled.
Well, the board for the first time this year found out that no one uses the fields throughout the month of July.
Right.
We didn't know that because people take the blanket permit.
We have,
No, but I mean, like, the men's league takes a hiatus in July, and the Fall River Youth Soccer
Yeah.
said they took a hiatus in July. So they don't play at all for the month of July, and yet, for the entire month of July, when people are calling me for games, I'm like, nope, it's not available, not available, until the fact that we said we need schedules of games. I think the first thing that needs to be scheduled at these, and should take precedent, and this is my advice again to the board, games need to be scheduled first. 3/4 of the time that's tied up at these fields is practice.
see, we pay for a smaller field than Britland. We have to, because our 9v9s have to play, and we don't have a field for them, so we have to pay $100 for like a 9v9 field.
But
And
isn't that
that's in
soccer
Rehoboth-
field,
that's in
and this is
Rehoboth.
the other thing, and I know the Nets, again, the Nets belong to Fall River Youth Soccer. But my understanding is that soccer field has a field within a field
Yeah, it's
for the
li-
9v9s.
it's lined
And
for
those
9v9.
nets go into that
Yeah.
shorter field. So this is my point. If it's something that we do, and you pay for the man, and you pay for whatever, then those nets come out, you rent the field
Right.
for the shorter field.
That's right.
You rent that time. I need 4 hours for my 9v9s. So if the park department has to buy those nets instead of them being Fall River Youth Soccer nets, then so be it. But it's gonna be like you said, you have to pay a man to be able to go, make sure those nets are gonna be put out there, make sure the bathrooms are open, and we do away with all of this. This just became
Yeah.
like a snowball because we tried the porta johns. And like I said, they may not be complaining, but they're like, why do we have to pay for this? Why do we pay for that? Why are we, I mean, they feel like instead of coming through this board, they're going through Fall River Youth Soccer because they have the majority of the time there. Not anything against them, I have nothing against them, but they have the majority of the time there. So they feel like, why are we asking them when you people are telling me you run the show? So I don't have the answer to that question. And that's why it came back to the board and I asked everybody to come in.
So,
Well, there's anything us as a club that we can do to help out, maybe helping with scheduling or whatever, or show how we do things, that way you guys get an insight how we, things work, we're gladly there to help you guys out.
Okay,
So
thank you.
just reach out to us.
So you are in the same situation as far as getting schedules at the last minute for your
Yeah,
travel?
so we're playing NEP League, which is, it's a premier league in the East Coast. They have maybe about 15,000 teams playing. Okay, so between all these clubs, and now you're looking at fields, so it's crazy,
If
you
you
know?
must pay a certain region, like you must have so
Yes,
many
we
teams
pay,
in
we
your
pay,
region.
yeah, yes, but what I'm saying is, so you have all these clubs, all these teams, and they're all, they need these time slots. Now, can these coaches make it? Some coaches coach multiple teams.
Right.
So it's a process, it takes a long time.
Right, so you can't schedule 2 of their games at the same time
So-
because they have different teams.
And for us to be like, 5 weeks out of the season, we don't know. 4 weeks, we don't know. It's literally like a couple weeks before is when we actually find out. And even then, till this day, we're 4 weeks into the season and we're rescheduling because things, this is just conflicts, so it is tough. It's very tough.
well, we understand that, but we have to
But you
understand.
have
Yeah.
to take the fact that you got yours, they have theirs,
Yeah.
men's have
No, we
theirs,
don't.
and then they're
Yeah.
all trying to be scheduled here as well, so
Yeah.
that you guys don't conflict with each other.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing we know is like, we always start the Sunday after Labor Day. That's our stop for the fall, and then we run like about 8 weeks after that. And then our season for the fall ends, we still continue, because we're a year round. We don't stop, we still continue. So come winter time, we have to pay the fees to go indoors. So whether we're looking at $120 at the Longplex in Tiverton, or we're looking at Teamworks fees, we have fees all the time.
Okay.
So,
Well, thank you very much for explaining it, and we'll figure it all out.
So, thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions? Helen? No, okay. Item C, rules regarding political activities in the parks. So as we all know, there was a question whether we could or would allow political activities in the parks, and from what I've been informed, that it's been no political activity in the parks. Is that correct?
Yes, right.
So, someone had said it was an old rule, but there's old ordinances and the Constitution's old, so I mean, you know,
The rule is 2011.
just because it's old doesn't mean it's not there.
The rule is 2011.
It was 2011?
Yes.
Okay, so 2011. So, I don't feel that we need to motion second, because it already happened, correct, Nancy? Right? Did you guys
We're not
already?
making any changes to it.
We're not making no changes.
No changes, no politics in parks, so we will just let people know, there are no politics in parks. It was 2011 that it went into, before the board, and it still is. It's not an old rule, it is a rule. Any
The same
discussion?
as a public building. No politics in this building. Am I right?
Okay. Okay, so any other discussion? Okay, so we can check that off. Discussion of Fall River Greater Recreation Carnival at Lafayette Park. Well, as we found out tonight, they have to submit,
I'm sorry, but I thought you knew that rule. You would rather ask them for that paperwork. I thought you knew that.
for the,
Yes, to get
no.
those figures, I didn't know you knew that.
I don't know that we have to ask them. I think it's something that we determined, and
That's okay.
it was said when that they had to turn in we called it a quote-unquote cherry sheet
Yep.
of revenues.
Yeah,
What they made, where the profit went.
We didn't give them permission to use the park.
That's the other
we
thing.
didn't, but although we
give
didn't
them
use,
permission.
we didn't give them permission to use the park. No, we did not. And although we didn't give them permission, it's still in a park, we still should have the right.
Can we still ask for that, Nancy?
We should be
Even though-
able to, we're the
even though we
Board of
didn't give
Park
them the right to
Commissioners.
use
I
the
would
field.
think you could.
Yeah. So now that it is on the agenda down here, it's a discussion, but we already said we don't need a motion and second to send a letter for it. Send a letter. And we don't even know if they're gonna pay that money, right?
They have it cleaned up.
Did somebody clean it, Nancy?
I had a park worker go in after the day, because I was not gonna have him do it on, regular time. So he went at the end of the day and worked 4 hours. Mossy has emails,
Yeah, I do.
an email exchange where they had said they would, I also said that there was some issue, I wanted an area to be loaned and seeded, and that didn't go over very well, so I don't know how much
No,
of this.
what happened was, as I think I forwarded the emails out and you were supposed to go by and get it, but what happened was, they basically said, we're not paying it.
Said we pay for the cleanup of the worker, but not the,
They disagreed with
they
us.
said it didn't need it. But if you look at your list of rules, it says the park department will determine
Yeah, not them.
whether something should be. But again,
But-
for this board,
Yeah.
I am not gonna get involved in
No.
the email exchange, because then, again,
Yeah.
people come here and say, her.
Yeah, well, or me.
So if the board,
Yeah,
if
'cause
it's
then
the
I
board's
get an
decision,
email
it's the
saying
board's
that I
place
don't
to,
talk
I'll
to
be more than
people.
happy to
I
send
need a
the
communication.
correspondence.
What makes it hard is we didn't give them permission for the field either.
No, but it's in a park, so we can ask for the documentation that they provide to everyone else. I mean, if that's what they do, if that's what we do, that's what we do. Yes, Carlos?
Well, what you have in front of you is a taxpayer asking for information,
Okay,
the use of that park. I have the right to know how much money was made on
You do.
that park.
Okay.
Because I had provided this board before,
Yep.
all the questions, the answers to all the questions.
yeah.
And right now, it's not up to the board.
Yep.
Now, I'm a citizen and a taxpayer.
And you're requesting
of this
to the board.
city that I pay tax to that park, and I want to know how much that carnival generated in that park,
Okay,
period.
That's
Even
right.
if you don't want, as a board, if you don't want to send that letter, now that letter should be the request of a citizen asking how much would that park was, that festival generated on that public park.
okay.
So, just so I have this clarified, you're asking for them to provide the same cherry, quote-unquote, cherry sheet that you have provided for
Exactly.
carnivals that you have had at that location.
Exactly.
So cost, expenses, and revenue generated.
And
As
if
far
it's
as
any
this
other
damage, we can't go
issues,
to Law Department,
with that
nobody to ask advice.
event,
I got in trouble.
I think I need to know
Kathy?
as a taxpayer.
Yeah, she said that. I don't-
If it's anything else, because by the conversation, I could read between the lines, they are denying to pay some stuff. I have the right to know what's going on. So, I don't want to find out from nobody else.
And you shouldn't have to.
Exactly. I want to find out from this board,
Well,
what's going on between the
Uh,
lines.
do you have the agenda for last time? Do we have those, is that part of the agenda from last, what we sent to Mike Dion?
Oh, yeah.
I want to say it was 700 and something.
There you go.
Damage,
You got it?
750.
750? You got it?
Emails.
Thank you, Nancy. Okay, yeah, 'cause we went back and forth,
So my vote again.
and, well, I have it in here, I would have to, it would just take the meeting longer. And it's not, this isn't to get anyone in trouble or anything, this is what we do. So basically, the emails are back and forth to Mr. Dion. There's a picture, there's the pictures, and it's $750.
With 130 some being a worker.
Right,
Cleaner.
cleanup. So we have the pictures, we have
So out of that
everything.
750, 138 goes towards the worker.
Yes, and
Right.
the other was for loan seeding.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because the damage that I saw there, I didn't report it because they just natural. It's natural for the grass to grow back again, so it's normal. A tire goes under, over grass, it's gonna ruin the grass, but guess what? The next year, the grass comes back again.
Well, some of this
When
doesn't
you
look
break-
like the
when
grass
you
is gonna
break
come back.
down- When you break branches from the trees, I think that we're stepping in a different problem. Because
bottom line
for
is
them
this,
to fit-
Carlos.
For them to fit some rights there, I took pictures, they had to cut some branches of the trees.
The
So-
bottom line is this, it says in the, regarding, if there's any damages, the park is to, direct how much it is, right, Nancy?
So the-
What's it say? For Bayham,
She
please.
has to, pay a park,
Charge for
No,
any
wait a
there'll be a charge for any damage to area. Board will determine if area involved is to be overseeded.
Okay, so the board decides, and that's what we did.
Yeah, and you
Okay.
have somebody, and you have it on tape, somebody saying if it's any damage done to the park, I will pay for it.
Right,
It's on tape.
right.
You have it on the
I know
record.
that, and I went back and forth, but
Exactly.
we'll find out what you're requesting,
Thank
and you're welcome. And that's about all we can do at this point.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody have any discussion?
No.
Jeff?
No.
Okay. Park and Cemetery Department websites, web pages. So, oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry, I forgot one. Resolution from Councilor LeBeau, Park Cemetery Rules and Regulations. So Chris, can you come up here for a minute? And just to let you know, we received a resolution by Councilor LeBeau that our park and cemetery rules and regulations are not updated on the website. So we are going to have to work with you and Nancy to get all this up and going, because this way here we can answer the resolution.
Yes.
Okay. For instance, Nancy, what I would suggest too, because we just talked about it, put the political, no politics in the
No
park,
politics whatsoever in the park, nothing
We have a
political.
rule.
It's
We
in
have
there.
not on the webpage.
Right, we have those
I'm gonna get
rules, the rules that we have, that we've pulled out of the minutes, I will post them, you have them listed on a paper that we gave you. There are the 9 rules that supposedly are an ordinance, those can be posted on the website as well. And I would also be sure to put that these rules and regulations are subject to change, because they are subject to change, and hopefully followed. Because once you put them on the webpage, if you think you're getting phone calls now,
Well, I mean, she did this resolution because someone went to her and said there was a carnival in the park. But I think that,
well, let me say this about that.
I don't think it's.
One,
that.
whether
Yeah.
that no carnival was on the webpage or not, I think it's a well-known fact throughout the city of Fall River that this park board has addressed the fact of no carnivals in the park on numerous occasions. So I don't think that whether that.
it was that, I watched the
regulation-
meeting.
But no, I'm saying, I don't think that whether that regulation was posted on the website was gonna make a dang bit
It may not,
difference.
but she said at the council meeting that
Absolutely, I'll put it up, but
she's,
I-
let me finish, please. She said at the meeting that she put this resolution in because she received a phone call stating that there was a carnival in a park and they weren't allowed to have one.
Okay.
And she said that it's not fair. And
So
I
present-
said to her, because I had spoke to her, and I had said, we didn't approve this. So if anybody else approves it, we can't,
So presently, right now, in the list of department rules, regulations, and fees that I have here, it does not list it. Should that be number 1 on your
Yeah.
list?
Yes.
Yeah.
No carnivals in the park.
Okay, can I get a motion and a second to add
I
that to
motion
the
there would
list?
be no carnivals in the park.
okay, we have a motion, no carnivals in the park to go on the website. Second, all in favor? All opposed? The ayes have it. So then you're gonna do the political too, because the
Gonna
political
include
was
all the
there.
rules.
No
Okay,
political in the
Chris, do you have any new updates or
So
anything?
The cemeteries portion of the website appears to have all the rules on there already. The one thing we do have to update are the rates. So I
Okay.
will send that over to MIS, who updates the website for us. I already spoke with Dawn. She's awaiting that.
Okay. All right, and what we'll do is, before they go on the page, can we just view it? Okay. Anybody have any more questions?
Well, yeah, everyone has those others in your packets
Yeah,
from
it's in the
last
pocket,
meeting.
yeah. The last
So you
meeting.
can review them in your packets from last meeting and let me know if anything you need to address at your next meeting. We'll put it on the agenda. In
Okay.
the meantime, we can post these, and as I
Post what we
said,
got.
subject to,
Yep, subject to change.
subject to change, and this way, whatever rules you decide to change, we go on and change but it'll be a
So-
starting point.
Commissioner?
It just boggles my mind, all the money we spend in these parks, and people ain't behind those to fix them. You know, they know there's damage in the park, we spend all kinds of money in these parks, and nobody wants to repair them. Why are we putting all this money in the parks? You know, you think everybody'd be behind us, you know what I mean? 'Cause I don't think it's fair.
Well, I think what got me was when you say, I'll pay $250,000, and we're only asking for $750.
Yeah, you know what I mean? He
That's
said
what
right
killed
here.
me. I mean, we were very nice, I
Complaining
mean,
about the
you
first
know.
carnival that was in the city, that, oh, they made a mess of the parks. And here you are, you're making a mess of the park and you don't wanna fix it.
Well,
Nobody's
the
behind
mess-
us.
The mess is subject to opinion. The mess is subject to opinion, is what it boils down to.
I guess we all have our own opinions.
It's true. Okay, so we'll discuss that again too with the
Okay.
Park and Cemetery web pages. No other questions? So on this discussion here, so Helen and Jeff, would you be willing to sit, because you said you would be willing to sit to do over some, and then we could present it to the board?
Yeah.
Because like I said, Joe's on the tree, Victor's on CPC.
This is in regard to
This is,
fields?
this is in regards to,
Yeah.
what to go on the pages for rates and everything else.
Yep.
So, okay.
So we'll have a subcommittee.
Well, we're volunteers. Not
It's the
really a
same
sub.
thing. When you
Yeah.
have, it's not,
I gotta use the word
That's fine.
gingerly. Yeah.
We're gonna use that.
So, I just want to clarify what I'm
Sure.
supposed to do. So we are not to make any changes to the websites until it's reviewed by the commission, correct? So you
Well,
want everything.
if it's already been approved, right?
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, there's
Just
already
double check
stuff-
it, right? I mean,
Yeah, just double check it.
I think your rules you're referring to are the rules of the cemetery and rates.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
not much that, the rate is
No.
the rate.
so
You
just
can't-
double
so-
check it.
Okay.
Just same with Nancy. Just double check everything.
Okay.
Double check every 3 times. I don't care what you say. Okay.
I would just say, my suggestion, what I'm going to do is say, this is what I've prepared for the website. If anyone has any issues, it will be posted in a week if I don't hear any.
Because keep in mind, we cannot discuss it. More
They
than
can't
3
discuss it.
people, it'll be an open meeting law
Right.
violation. So usually, but we can work with it.
Okay.
Okay. All right, we all clear now?
Yes.
All right, okay. Commissioners, you okay? All right, good. Everyone okay? All right,
Christmas will stay here, there's a tree next.
Yeah.
yeah. Might as well just sit up here with us, Chris.
Okay.
F, CPC, eligibility, park board, project approval, letter and procedures. So, the procedures that we had from October 3rd, 2018, when Kathy Ann came down and Chris Gallagher was here, and I think was it? No, he wasn't
He was
here.
the next
But anyway, we were all working on how we can all communicate better and get this all under wraps. You were here, I think, too, Chris.
Yes, I was.
And so we had made a motion and seconded that any contract, so that we can know what's going on, is signed by the board as well. And, because I asked for an update on the North Park stairs, and I've been going back and forth with Jim Souza, is it?
Yeah.
Yep, and Nancy, but Nancy wasn't going the back and forth, it was Jim Souza. And basically, the contract was signed by Chris Gallagher for the stairs that Tony Dias applied for. So Tony Dias applied for the money, and Chris Gallagher signed the contract where we still have to sign that contract. And if we don't sign it, as far as the board's concerned, that contract is, in our eyes, is null and void, because we have it here. We all work together, it says it right here. I believe the chief of staff was here at the time, I see that here. And it said here that we had made a motion that the chairman plus 3 additional signatures. So, I don't understand where people aren't clear with this, because we were all here. Does anybody have any questions?
It's black and white.
It is,
Yeah.
so, but it seems like there's a, can we get a copy of this contract?
ask for it. I don't have a copy of it.
You don't get a copy of it?
No. I don't have a copy.
See, I guess I get confused, because why is it, you're in a park, this is what happened last time.
Yeah.
All these things, all projects were going on, and nobody knew anything about it.
I don't understand why she wouldn't get a copy of that.
I think, this is just my opinion again, I think that they look at that as an agreement of money. However, when an agreement of money is made in a park, the only way, many times, that we're going to know about that agreement being made is either A, to be copied on the agreement, or the absolute way for us to know is to have someone from the board sign the agreement. Like I said before, previous agreements were signed, this is what brought this up. Remember, Jeff, they asked you to sign it. So previous CPC agreements with Mr. Gallagher overseeing the project were still signed by at least the chair of the board. Because I believe how the ordinance reads is a department head or chairperson. And the reason the ordinance reads that way is because not every department has a board. So if you don't have a board, the department head signs. If you do have a board, then that means all of us underneath the board work for the board, and the board is that signature. So that's why in ordinance it says department head or chairperson. So I don't think there's anything, again, that we can do about this, but perhaps we can have Victor ask the CPC that for every contract, because Victor is the representative, for every contract or every award or every agreement that comes out of that CPC, it needs to be signed by this board.
We didn't send them a letter?
We were all here this meeting, that I believe that
Well,
what you're referring to was all brought about by the Ruggles Park Pathways project. Because that project was going to use CPC money, it was going to use grant money, it was going to use CDA money, and it ended up that it didn't have enough money to award the contract. But why the CPC would change the procedure if Jeff signed them before,
that's right.
why is it now the board doesn't sign it? Jeff signed before.
Right.
So I don't have a problem with Chris Gallagher signing it, but it's got to be signed by this board, or else,
Right.
like right now, I sent an email because, in all honesty, I thought the project was going to come through here. And I wanted to know where it was, because I don't want to do this project in the spring when people are going to be looking to do the ball fields. My understanding was the CPC had awarded this money in July, and the money was going to be available after that. I made a phone call in maybe August, like, oh, the agreements are going to be put together. So when I hadn't heard anything, I now put it in writing and said, and sent it to Jim
They only
Souza.
moved it forward, didn't they, last night?
No, that wasn't,
But I asked, where does this stand? Where does the North Park Stairs stand? And Mr. Souza responded to me and said, that's when I found out that there was a contract already issued.
Well, as far as we're concerned, if nobody signs, the board doesn't sign it, it's null and void to us because we didn't grant permission for it. I don't understand why all of a sudden we're changing again after we all met, you know,
They said, let's work together.
work together, we just, you
We
know,
don't
and
know
then we
what
get
that-
blamed, then we'll get blamed that we're not working together, but we try to work together, and we're right back where we were, October 3rd, 2018, and today's what, this,
The last we heard of that,
October 2nd,
it
right?
was going to be an abbreviated version because Mr. Dias had put in for $300,000. And Mr. Soul from that committee contacted me, and I said, I think it can be done for much less. And that's when he said, would we be agreeable to, if he could get $150,000? And I said, well, the scope of work is gonna change from $300,000 to $150,000.
Are we talking about the stairs?
Yes.
And then, because I remember that when it changed, what happened was too, what was presented to the board.
Jim Souza came to that
Yes.
meeting. That was the November meeting that we had CPC, it was an exclusive
Right.
CPC meeting.
And we said that right then and there, but what happened was too, because what's presented to the board for an approval letter was different that when it went to the CPC with Mr. Dias. I remember that. But anyway, to go round and round, I guess we need to send a letter to CPC saying that, sorry, that,
No, avoid.
as far as we're concerned, it's null and void, because we need to sign that, and we want a copy of it. Because what happens is, like, hate to do this, but like Travasco's Park, if we don't know what's going on, then how do we know? This board's the checks and balances, and we didn't know about Travasco Park at the time. We don't know. Can't do anything if we don't know.
So am I saying?
But if something's
until-
wrong, we're gonna get blamed for it.
Until we sign this agreement, this project will not move forward?
No, we're not
Am I
gonna know,
saying
and-
that?
Which project is this one here?
This
The
is
North Park Steps.
Well, keep in mind too, when I look at everything that's outstanding, there's approximately $1 million in park projects that's tying up CPC money.
You kidding?
No,
Should've been the last night's meeting.
Yeah.
I mean, why, we have like 8 outstanding jobs in parks and cemeteries for CPC, and now you're asking for more. And this is why the board said last year, no more parks or cemeteries until he catches up or something happens.
Yeah, I think those stairs went on there last night.
No, the stairs
no,
were
the stairs
last
went out,
year.
Yeah.
Last year, yeah. But it was still, there was tennis courts and everything else that went last night, right?
They moved forward. They didn't get awarded yet.
Right,
Last night was eligibility.
Right, I understand
Last night,
that.
it would say, yes, this qualifies.
Right.
no,
Five's
it
right.
doesn't
Right.
qualify.
That's all that was last night.
right.
I don't understand, but I'll be honest with you, Victor, I don't understand why someone would prepare all that information for the CPC
Exactly.
if the board is not gonna be willing to go forward with it. I don't know, I know the CPC says the eligibility is first, but why buy a pair of shoes, dancing shoes, if you're not gonna go dancing?
Yeah, and I don't dance, so
Because
I
they
don't
compare
understand
to what
dancing.
job, your job
Because I
is
think
more
if this
important
board.
than the next job.
No, but that's not the point. If this board said, but like Marcy just said, if I'm reading through the lines here, Marcy just says we've got a lot of outstanding projects. So say next month he comes here and he presents this project, and Marcy goes, or this board says, guess what? No more.
That's what we said last time.
Now, he's wasted the CPC's, well, not him, anybody, anyone who has projects moving forward. I
Right.
mean, we're referring to it because it's us, but I personally think the CPC needs to say, in your eligibility, you need to know that the department wants to do this work. Why are you gonna know if it's eligible if I don't wanna do the work? If this board doesn't want to do, what are the 2 projects that went forward?
Tennis courts.
Tennis courts and,
And the rural cemeteries
yeah.
too.
Okay, so a cemetery project went forward, the tennis courts went forward, I thought there was a couple of them, but
Those are
anyway.
the ones.
What if they decide that they,
They have to come by us. They have to come up here
The,
first.
what I'm saying is, it
Should have
doesn't, why
happened
should it
first
go
before it
you?
went to
Why
the
should it go?
CPC.
I agree.
Right,
Right, because if we say we don't want any
What if the
more,
board down the bottom says, you know what, that bottom field doesn't have any parking.
Right.
That bottom field on Bay Street for playing ball has no parking. Those tennis courts are a mess. We're gonna take those tennis courts, we're gonna knock them down, and we're gonna make parking across the street for that. So this whole proposal that was submitted for tennis courts would be useless if that's not what the park board wanted to move forward with. How do you know the park board doesn't have a different plan for that particular area of property?
nobody does. But the problem that I have heard from the commissioners in the past is, we're doing so much, and then when something slips through and we don't know about it, of course, we all get phone calls, we all get in trouble for it, we all get ridiculed for it, and
No, the problem was last month, when I wrote the letter again to the CPC, because there were commissioners on his board saying, the park director didn't do that job. Why is the park director not starting that job? Why is the park director?
well, that was the
And the
right.
park director doesn't have anything to do with it because it was going through Chris Gallagher.
That's right.
So that's where the problem was
Yeah.
coming in with the park department getting the blame of dragging their feet on 7 projects. And
none of them were in our hands. I don't even have access to view the money, never mind spend it.
Well, and that's
And we
what we
went through
talked
this.
about this, in the meeting minutes, if you all want a copy of it, unless you have it at home, it's October 3rd, 2018. I suggest that we all look at this, but we can discuss it in the group too, that this is just, we all have to work together and, you know, we tried, and then this gets thrown at us,
Yeah,
so.
these projects really need to be coordinated through the board and through the departments, because there's ideas and things that the board is looking to do, whether it be in the cemeteries or the parks, that might conflict or partner with CPC and help, you know, the
Will not be a
project, but
priority of the
it
department.
just,
Right,
if people are able to go and say, we want to spend CPC money on city property, and this is the same, I'm sure, for other departments who
Right.
don't have boards.
that's correct.
That if the board and the departments aren't on board, it changes the priority of what we're looking at and what we're
Right.
trying to
And
do.
it changes the priority of what CPC has to look at. They're
Right.
gonna look at 10 extra projects that may not even be up for consideration, because when they come back to the board goes, where did that idea come from?
I mean, so now we're working on 8 that he has to finish. I mean, it's 2016,
So
right?
CPC gave them the money for this
No.
project?
No,
No, not yet.
For the wall, yes,
Not-
Talk about this one right
the
here.
steps.
Steps.
yes.
And he hasn't done the steps yet?
We just
They
got
just-
awarded that July of 2019.
We're talking about the contract. The contract, they just got awarded, as Nancy said, but the contract has been signed, but not by the Board of Park Commissioners. So as far as we're concerned, as we have all talked about in our big meeting with City Administrator, Chief of Staff, Chris Gallagher, that we were all gonna work together, and everybody was there, and we need 3 additional signatures.
I believe the CPC calls that an agreement, and that is how they are saying probably that the board doesn't need to sign it, because the board said we want to sign contracts. It's splitting hairs, it's an agreement.
All right, well then put a contract/agreement.
But again, I said, in previous projects, the chalkboard chair
Jeff signed
did
them.
sign. So I don't know
Okay.
what changed that.
All right, so then Nancy will send that, okay. We're good. Any other questions? No? Commissioner Schoenberg, do you have any input?
That's about the contracts, correct?
Yes. So we're all on the same page with that, correct?
Yep.
Okay, Victor?
I'm all set.
Okay. Okay. Tree removal request, 1052 Pleasant Street.
I'd like to provide a little background on this
Whereabouts is
request.
that?
I only have a couple copies of this.
Whereabouts is that?
That is near the U-Haul building at, on Pleasant Street and County.
Okay?
So the initial request came into our office to trim back the tree to expose the business's sign. And the business owner asked us to top the tree. Everything I've read about tree care and maintenance is you don't top a tree, it's gonna kill it. So I reached out to our contracted arborist. She agreed that we don't top the tree because it would significantly impact its ability to survive, and that we should, if we were to trim it, it can only be thinned out by 25% or less. Anything more would compromise the health of the tree. So we went and trimmed back the tree. There's before and after photos. I reversed them in your packet. So the first one's the after, the second one is the before the work. And the,
For the Costello, right?
yes.
Well, they don't have, you don't have color printers.
No, we don't, so it is difficult to see.
Yeah.
But
So
we
it's around
trimmed, if you're looking at the picture, we trimmed the right side, so when you're in that travel lane heading towards
Yeah, I can't see that.
the avenue on Pleasant Street, you'd be able
Still
to
can't
see
the
it.
sign.
You can see it a lot better than before, but still not as well as the business owner would like. So I suggested that he submit a request to the park board, because that's the only way to have the tree removed, and we can't do anything that we know we knowingly cannot compromise the health of the tree. That's in the tree ordinance, that we
Right.
don't top trees and we don't purposely affect their health. So
Okay.
that's where this request
So
came from.
you just have to trim it back, the 25%, because you can't top it, it's in the
Right,
ordinance, so
and
we
we
can't
did
go
trim
against
back-
city ordinance.
We did trim back the 25%
Okay,
that was suggested from the arborist.
okay,
And the business owner is still not satisfied with the exposure that he's getting on his sign. So he is now requesting that the tree be removed.
Is there
That's
anything
what we
wrong
are.
with the
Will he
tree?
pay to have put a tree planted in another spot?
I don't know, well, you start doing that though, then
Yeah, the
everybody's
tree
gonna be
ordinance
calling
says you can't do
to,
that,
tree
correct?
ordinance says you can't, right?
What you can
The
do.
tree
You cut a
ordinance-
tree down, you plant a tree.
Right,
Yeah,
but,
but I don't know what the
but,
tree ordinance is saying.
They're
I
saying-
believe that the suggestion was made, and this comes into play with that gas company that was here that had to take down trees that were
Right.
alive and well, they had to pay. So the arborist said that the city had looked at a charge of $350 per inch of diameter to replace the tree if a healthy tree were to be removed. So
so what's your recommendation?
it's a healthy tree, and I think if you start removing trees because it's obstructing a sign, just at
We'll
the
be doing it for
request
everyone.
of the business owner, we're doing it for everyone, and we're taking down trees without replacing them, so,
Especially if it's a healthy tree.
right, if there's, I think there's a way to work with the business owner, if he's willing to pay the price to have another tree planted in an area that's, you know, satisfactory to the board,
Yeah, but again, if
Then-
we do a family, we gotta do
Yeah.
it for everybody, correct?
right,
Right.
so it's,
Well, it's a healthy tree,
it is a healthy tree.
you know, and it may, you know, let's face it, the leaves are gonna be falling off,
Right.
What's he
so,
doing, blocking his sign?
yeah.
Yeah.
Move your sign.
And Pleasant Street is a tree-lined street.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
a number of
Can he
trees on
move his
Pleasant
sign?
Street.
I mean, I don't know, but we have to follow ordinance, and if it's a healthy tree too. Commissioner,
Problem is, like you said, we're gonna have to do it for everybody.
that's right. Commissioner Silva?
You spoke to him, other than what you already said, you spoke to the owner?
Yes, I've spoken with the owner, I've met him on site, showed him the work that we did, and he was not happy with the solution that we
Is it
came up
because of
with.
the leaves? The leaves are blocking it right now, because, I mean,
Yeah.
the leaves are gonna be falling off. So
Right.
let's see what it looks like in, you know, a couple of months.
Sure.
And, because, like, you
It's a
know,
healthy tree and it's an ordinance.
yeah, it's an
We've done
ordinance, there's
everything
nothing we can, yeah,
within the law,
yeah,
So,
or the ordinance, I should
do the
say.
sign.
yeah,
And
you're right.
this one
I
here,
think
maybe we
the
should
only
move
way
the
to take
sign.
down the healthy tree is
Okay.
to have it be that they
I'm-
pay
I'm-
for a replacement. I think that's the only leeway we
Again,
have.
but if we do it for him.
Right.
And you got other businesses gonna say, well, I wanna move this tree.
Right,
We've
That
done everything we
tree-
can
That tree
within
is
the
to the left of
ordinance.
his sign, of his driveway.
correct. It's,
Why can't he move the sign to
it's
the right of the
technically
driveway?
not in front of his business, it's in front of the U-Haul business, I believe, I'm not,
And you,
I
this
didn't
tree
go
you
out and
trimmed off,
survey.
you trimmed this over here?
Correct.
Already, right?
Yep,
Okay, so before us is to remove the request. Unfortunately, it's a healthy tree, you have your documentation, the leaves will, you know, it's the time of season. From the will of the board here, I don't hear,
We've done everything within
Yeah.
the ordinance.
Yeah.
We tried to assist them. Motion to deny.
Second.
motion to deny has been made by Commissioner Silver and seconded by Commissioner Schulenberg. All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, that's the business representative on the plan. Tell me.
Move the sign.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Okay. Resolution from Council Turner Park, Danforth Street. Okay, which one was this one now? Turner
You want
Park.
us to go clean it up?
Well, this one here is, there's poison ivy on the side, and if you see in the picture,
It's living right now.
oh, this was from Councilor Pelletier, that the Turner Playground has an overgrown bush, weeds, and poison ivy that goes through the fence. Well, that's not our area, that is
State.
state. So what I would suggest to the board and make a recommendation to. If, you know, if it's overgrown, and, you know, I would suggest they send a letter to the state.
If you look in your packet, they've already done all that.
Well, there's nothing we can do, it's not our area.
John Perry's going in and he's gonna clean it. That's what all this information that I've included in your packet says.
So then John Perry's gonna go in and clean it. Why, I don't know, if it's state,
Because it says here, in the email that I've included, I've looked at the playground, it appears that there's a 15-foot
Foot buffer from the
zone
fence.
From the fence.
It says
I've
here.
attached a printout showing this. And then there's another part of this email that says, Mr. Perry plans to kill the poison ivy first and then use equipment to remove the debris. So I wanted the board to know that that was the decision made on that, or the email exchange that was made on that resolution. If the board has any issues with it, then they can address that. I mean, but that's how it's going to be handled at this point, to the best of my knowledge.
Any questions? I'm just a little baffled how, why the city is gonna pay for state overrun.
The map is there, I don't know.
Oh, here it is, yeah. So,
Yeah, they take that to the city council.
the city council sent it.
Somebody went to the city council.
Yeah.
Someone from the AMVets went to the city council
Yeah.
because they can't see over the trees anymore.
Well, they should contact the state rep. Can we send a letter to the state rep?
That's Carol Fiola, isn't it?
Yes.
Let's send a letter to Carol
Why don't we
Fiola.
contact Carol Fiola?
Yeah.
She gets
Can we
everything
send a
done,
letter
doesn't
to
she?
Carol Fiola and,
She's superwoman.
So John Perry's gonna take care of that, Nancy?
Yeah.
That's what the email
well, let's
says.
send a letter to Carol Fiola and see if she can instruct the,
Well, it's gonna grow back. I mean, this is a temporary solution.
well, I
because
mean,
it's gonna
let's
grow
get
back.
the representative
No, I'm saying as
informed.
far as what the city is doing and
Yeah.
what John is being asked to do.
It's gonna come
It's
back.
gonna come back.
Yeah, so it's gonna come back, and I know Carol will help us, so let's just send a letter to Carol Fiola.
Need a motion and a second.
Motion to send a letter to Representative Carol Fiola regarding the poison ivy near Turner Park.
Pretty park. It's not park property.
No, it's near.
Park. Belongs to the state.
That's right.
That's her
District.
district.
I believe the railroad.
Okay, the railroad, whatever is in this letter, the 15-yard buffer that we have here that says with the debris and poison ivy and kumbaya and
Making
everything.
the motion.
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
Contact Carol Fiola.
Okay. We have a motion, can I have a second?
But if John Perry wants to do it, what's the
Just
deal?
a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it.
Get in trouble again.
Helen.
That might get a little.
That's gonna hit 2 nails on the head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, it's gonna boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Okay, where are we now?
One nail's gonna be,
All right,
it's not the wall here.
Turner Park, boy, we're just rolling right around. Request for Kennedy Park Drive, candlelight procession, 10/14 at
That's
6.
That's the yearly event, motion to event. What's it for?
Second.
I know it's for candlelight, but what's the candlelight for?
They wanna use Park Drive to park the bus. They do it every year.
Okay, well,
Motion to grant permission.
Second.
motion to grant permission's been made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, the ayes have it. Personnel ordinance, park director and new
You're
hire.
missing the dispenses, isn't it? Oh, that's not on there. Is that just an FYI I put in there, sorry.
Okay,
I don't know if it is.
okay, ma'am,
No, it isn't.
ma'am, excuse me, ma'am. All right,
Sorry.
that's okay, don't let it happen again, please. Personnel ordinance, park director and new hire, park laborer. I need a motion to accept and place on file, please.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded, all in favor?
Who's this guy?
It's,
What is this?
Sarava?
You
yeah,
hired somebody?
that's
Oh,
another
wait.
guy. Yeah.
Kind of like it, it is.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Welcome. Department updates.
Who's the partner?
Who was the second on that? I'm sorry, Victor and Joe?
Victor and Joe.
Yes.
Okay, department updates. Chris, come on down, Chris.
I'm down, Chris.
I sent an email to the chair earlier this week that the construction on the pathway for the columbarium units started, so we're excited about that progress. The other update was now that the Crestbrook project has moved out of Oak Grove Cemetery, we're looking at the roughly acre of land that's there to develop into burial space. So I've contacted a few landscape architecture firms and consulting firms who have expertise in designing these burial spaces to come out and look at the space and then provide us a proposal of services that might also include some master planning for the cemetery of where we can go with burial space in the future, and kind of helping us prioritize any work that needs to be done in the cemetery. So as those proposals come in, I'll share them with the board, and at an upcoming board meeting, we can look at those proposals and decide if we want to go through with one of them or not.
We running out of room over there?
We do have limited burial space like we discussed in previous meetings, but we do have some land that can be developed. It's just about developing it in an efficient way and then respecting the history of the cemetery. So we're trying to find an expert in that who's worked on historic cemeteries and designed that type of burial space in the past.
Anything else?
That's all I've got.
Video? Cameras?
Oh, yes, sorry.
I did send that to the,
Yes, so the board was made aware that there was some graffiti spray painted on the street in Oak Grove Cemetery that we are in the process of figuring out how exactly to clean that up in the best and most appropriate way. But I met with a company today to get a proposal on the installation of security cameras at our entrances and exits, so that way we at least have some type of video of who's coming in and who's leaving the cemetery, especially when the workers, the staff are no longer there, but the gates remain open. So they came down, Fall River Police Department also came down, photographed the vandalism of the roadway, and then took a few beer cans as evidence, so they're looking into it.
Do you think it was done during the day?
No, it was done after we left and before we returned the following morning, so
Are these lights,
Today's
are there
Wednesday.
lights hanging around in that area?
no.
Where they could see what they were doing?
There's only lights at the entrance on Prospect Street and the entrance on Oak Grove Avenue.
And where was this graffiti done?
There were two spots. One was on, I believe, Spruce Ave in the cemetery, so up by a larger Borden family plot, not the Lizzie Borden family, but another Borden family. And then the other was by the gates that come in that are closed off of Garden Street, which is where Kimwell Nursing Home abuts the cemetery.
you got the text message.
Those gates are lousy, you need new gates there.
Yes, after the Crestwood project, they replaced the fencing there, but not the gates, so the gates to block the vehicle traffic
But not
is
the vehicle,
functioning,
you can get
but
in.
not the pedestrian
You can see
traffic.
from a road,
Right.
from Walton Road, you can see how you can get into that cemetery.
Right, yeah, you can, the pedestrian gates have been left unlocked. Those at Prospect and Oak Grove Ave and on Garden Street.
They've been left unlocked,
Yes, they
and I think they should have.
haven't been locked, and if it's the board's will, then we can lock those up as well.
We'd have to put it on the agenda for next time, right? For discussion, we'd have to
Yes.
put it on for next time. Okay. Nancy, you have any?
I've sent estimates for the damage to the administration and Mr. Perry regarding the bus damage in Kennedy Park. I'm not sure where that stands at this point, so I did send an email on the 27th to see if there was an update. I didn't hear a response back yet. I'll let the board know. I sent an email regarding the Maplewood net, whether it's gonna be up or down. That's the pleasure of this board. At this point, we usually take it down by Halloween. So if you want it down, just let us know. It does not require a vote of the board. So if this board prefers that that net come down, that's just something that,
What did we do last year? When did we take
I
it?
just thought we discussed with my colleague over here, Mr. Sylvia,
Yeah.
that we would take it down to save the net.
I believe we
So-
discussed that the last meeting.
and it comes down.
We
rent
discussed about taking
rent
it
the
down,
bandwidth
right?
and it comes
To
down.
save the net.
Yeah, because at the last meeting, I believe I made a point that we spent, you know, whatever the cost was, I don't recall what it was thousands of dollars. Why are we gonna leave it up and have it wear out sooner than later?
Yeah.
Weather and wear and tear.
So
Yeah.
I will,
I think it should come down.
so we'll work to coordinate that and come down.
John Perry?
The landscaping work
That's
that,
Parks and the tree division.
We'll take it
Take
down?
that down.
the landscaping for the Maplewood Patriots Playground, the one that we had to wash off, I've had the purchase order with the company to go there, regrade it, take it down a little bit below that wall. So that work was done over the weekend. That will come out of that Patriots Playground funding. I've scheduled a public hearing in accordance with the ordinance regarding the improvements in parks over $10,000 that's required. So that public hearing is scheduled for October 16th in the atrium. They're gonna be making a presentation regarding the Etna Street playground improvements, as well as the Vietnam Memorial Wall. So,
Can't have 4 people there.
I think because it's posted, you
We
can
could?
have the board. Because I
Okay.
posted it as a meeting, it's advertised, it's posted.
Okay,
So
good.
that as many board members as wish can attend. What's the other thing here? As far as, and I gotta say this because, you know, there's not a thing that I do that I do not run in front of this board. But yet, constantly I'm badgered like the bad guy again. And it's always with leagues that have an issue with regulations that I am asked by this board to put forth and have people follow regarding porta-johns. We have the same issue where people from North Park weren't happy. It seems, you know, and then I have a problem with her. You know what? If we're not gonna follow rules, then please don't make them. There is not an email correspondence that I had with that league. We've had a problem with the gentleman before her. It all boils down to the fact that it is not an exclusive right. And I have been here to know that that's what the situation started out as. And from that point forward, it has snowballed to the point that I have something against this league. I don't have something against any league, but I have to accommodate all leagues. There is not, and the reason, Marcy, that you got into the email exchange with her is because I wasn't getting the information.
That's correct.
And I said to you,
Yes.
this is going nowhere, this is gonna get me in hot water, you need to take on. She answered your email, just like the other league answered Carol Fiola's emails. You know, we have rules, follow them. Every single time we have a situation with a league, they say 700 kids, 500 kids, 7,000 kids. You know what? There's kids that we're turning away because you're taking more time than you need. Are we gonna bring that up now too? Because enough is enough. We have a league with 68 kids in it that has 4 fields. Does 68 kids need 4 playing fields? It has to stop. There is not a thing, and I've done it from day one. I'm not gonna do a thing without this board
knowing what is going on,
Absolutely.
okay? And this board knows that. But every single time, I'm the person that gets the blame. Her, she. I'm the one who has to send the messages about the porta potties. I'm the one who has to send the messages about what is followed and not followed. And I'm the one that gets the call about people, charging people to do things. I can't allow that to happen. And this was brought before the board when I went to that meeting. And we have had this on the agenda for multiple meetings.
Yep.
I'm supposed to, they were very upset because they wanted me to prepare the questions that they were coming in to answer. I can't prepare the questions. I don't know what questions this board has.
And that's a violation of the open meeting law as well. We cannot discuss things prior to a meeting. We all get together and
So,
this
I
is how it
mean,
is.
I can march in plenty of people from leagues that get along just dandy with Nancy.
And it's unfortunately, Nancy, you do take the hit for us because we make the rules and regulations for parks and cemeteries and unfortunately you guys.
Unfortunately, she's around all day, so
Right.
they call
Well,
Nancy.
that's why I say if she's not satisfied, then to let her find another
And
place.
that's what they're gonna have to do. If no one's
Find another
satisfied,
place.
I mean, because quite honestly, it just
What would she
amazes
pay if she
me.
went to Durfee?
$100 or $200.
legal? Is it even legal?
I don't know, and that's why I
Bad to
brought it
charge
before
somebody?
the board.
No, I
I'm
don't,
not saying anything bad about it, I'm
No,
just
I
wondering,
don't
is
know.
that legal?
I don't know.
Well, she came in looking for a fight, so.
yeah, it wasn't a good situation, but anyway,
Prepared to charge somebody a
I don't,
fee.
I don't know, I don't think so.
The
well,
point is this.
the point
When
is
we
it's in
said
a
we were
pub.
gonna charge fees, we were gonna put people out of business.
Yeah,
That, if we go back to watch the tape that we were all asked to watch,
that she was talking about
that she
actually.
so adamantly said she watched again today, I don't need to watch it again today, because it's see it in my mind, because every single time, I can tell you, every single time, and this board said, if the porta potties don't work out, you will hire a person and you will have
That's
them,
what, yeah, that
Hey.
is Nancy.
Absolutely.
okay? Because
That's fine.
no matter what, the City of Fall River Park Department is the only one that doesn't charge. I want to know why the school department can charge and we can't. And even now, I mean, I have nothing against the man, I've never met him before, but, oh, if you're gonna charge us, please don't charge us a lot because all these leagues won't play. Why don't they tell that to the school committee? Why don't they say to the school committee, please don't charge us $100 to use Durfee because you're gonna put us out of business? Why is it only to us?
And I've called areas around, and I spoke to New Bedford, and I said, do you have any problems with any of the leagues or anything that they want to, she said, no, it works very well. She said, you know, we do the blocks, we do this, we do that. I did the research, so when we meet, and then we can discuss it and send it to the board. But nobody, Somerset, Swansea, Diamond, the school department, everybody charges and everybody says there's no problem with it. They sat here and even said they go to Durfee.
That was the
Yeah,
northeast.
but as Helen said, Commissioner Rigo stated,
You requested a schedule, correct?
that's correct.
I got the schedule. Of that schedule, there are 7 Saturdays used for games by the Fall River United soccer team. 7 Saturdays. Their permit reads Monday 5 to 9, Tuesday 5 to 9, Friday 5 to 9, Saturday 8 to 5, Sunday 1 to 9. Out of that, we've got 15 games. I'll give each game 2 hours, 30 hours. The rest is practice.
In the meantime.
And in the
it's
meantime, I'm turning away other leagues that are looking for
Yeah,
places
we
to
should
play
be doing that
games.
fairway for
Commissioner
practice.
Rigo called me because someone asked her when they wanted to use a playing field, and you can tell this story.
And she
Why
was-
are they paying Fall River Youth Soccer to play soccer on a public field?
On a public
She called
field.
and asked me that. I'm not gonna address that with this board? Of course I'm gonna address that.
They said they were gonna get charged to pay,
Play.
to,
They couldn't use it because they get charged to pay. You have to pay them to use that soccer field.
CPC.
What, somebody just want to walk
They want
over there
to
and
go
get
in
the
there and
ball?
just hustle, like practice.
Yeah, they can't charge you for that.
Well, that's what they were.
Well,
They were saying they had to pay that,
This
that's
woman
why I'm
told
bringing
them
this.
they
It's a
had to
public
pay.
park, you can't be charging people
I'm
that wanna
telling
go
you,
in there.
these are the problems that come to
This is
me.
it.
I'm not
Sorry.
trying to throw anybody under the bus, but I can't take situations like that and go, oh, I don't believe it. Because then in the end, it does come back, and it's my fault for not bringing it to the attention of this board. When Commissioner Rego said that to me,
Yeah, but that all goes back to locking the gates too. They wanted to lock the gates, and we said, we can't, it's a public park.
But it was locked for
but
many
it's
years.
locked. They were locked. And then that's how we found out when we unlocked them in
Then we
July.
unlocked them.
Right.
I have nothing against anyone, but that field has, I can't tell you how many people asked to use it. And I say there's no time. But the question is there really time? Because I don't know if someone's taken a block of 8 hours, if they're only using 4, there is 5 hours of time available.
And that's what we'll be working
So
on.
we have to address it.
Yeah, we'll be working on it.
And
Maybe
I-
just games only, no more practice.
Or games only. I
But
have
if you look in these things, I'm
I
sure.
have also provided, Marcy, that she just passed out
Yeah.
to you, policies and procedures for contracts. That's something that this board can look at and review and see if that's what they want to follow. And I believe I gave this to you last year after that October meeting, and it probably just kind of slipped through the cracks.
Well, it probably did because we were all on board. I didn't think we'd be back to where we were last year, unfortunately. But this is, so look at this, we'll make sure we
So
put it on
please
the
mark your
agenda.
calendars for October 16th for those public hearings.
What time?
At 5:30 in the atrium, because we could not get this room.
It's over what, 15?
16.
At 10 o'clock at night?
Yeah,
Yeah.
11 o'clock.
Oh, you hear me?
Commissioner's inquiry, anybody have anything to say?
I have a question.
Yes.
Nancy.
Do you?
Hi, Nancy. Yes,
Yes.
I do.
Okay.
That dugout, Maplewood Park, the top field, the one they just built, the floods out big time when it rains, Nancy. Listen, let me finish.
Mr. Travis has addressed
If
that.
if they leave it to go, it takes 3 days for the water to go away. I know somebody that goes there with a pump and pumps it out so they can play ball there. There anything that can be done because the dugout's down too low. The ground is up too high. I don't know why they did the way they did it, but
Well, I believe Mr. Gallagher is asked to come before you next meeting with his CPC projects.
yeah.
That was a project that he did, and that was a project that
Chris
Mr.
Gallagher did them
Travis.
dugout? He did that
Yes,
dugout,
that field, yes, that was part of the fencing, backstop,
Backstop,
dugouts.
9 yard.
And Mr. Travis has called me regarding his concern about that a number of times.
About that flooding? Yeah.
Yes. So maybe you can address that, because I believe he may have addressed it with Chris as well. I don't
Something's
know
gotta be done about
what
it.
the answer was, but maybe that can be addressed at that time. You can ask him the questions. Because I don't have the answer.
There's only one way to fix that now. You ain't gonna pull the dugout, you gotta dig behind it. Put some blue stone back there, let the water run that way.
That was done with CPC money?
I don't know.
Who knows?
Oh, dear God.
But yeah, I had somebody come to me and ask me, to say, can you guys do something about that flooding, man, please? So I'll bring it up in a meeting.
I can let Chris know there's flooding there, but.
Yes. I'm sure he knows that.
Dear God up in heaven.
Yeah, he's coming to a meeting, so we can just address it.
Yeah, they asked to come to this one, but they did not submit the information on time, so
No.
they were.
We have a deadline so that everybody can get it, and if it's not submitted, there's not once but twice. I mean, I wait, but I can't keep waiting because you guys have to get your agenda.
Well, Mr. Suze from the CPC also said that until it goes to them, it shouldn't come to us.
Yeah, I knew the policy. Said that again last night.
Well,
Has to come before us before it goes to them.
well, that's okay, but we have all these projects that are waiting, and we said last year not to take on any new ones until they were done, and
No, the CPC said that, the
Yeah.
gentleman on the CPC
Yeah.
committee said
yeah,
that.
he did, and then we
Did.
agreed, and we were all in. Okay, whatever.
Not enough for trouble.
Oh.
Well, just
That's
nothing
all I
will
had,
move.
Nancy.
Nothing will go forward. Motion to adjourn, huh? Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Been made and seconded. All in favor? Thank you for coming.